All right, we should be back here. Hello, Jose. How are you doing today? And no good, Nick. You joined right when we were starting to break. Sorry about that. How are you doing today? All right, so another hour, and we're going to continue on. So, connecting to a running Docker container. Okay, this is where some really cool stuff starts to get going. Anshul, hello. How are you doing today? I'm doing pretty good. Okay, so in the last, or in the previous. Okay, so in the previous lesson, we created a Docker container. We created a container that is running in the background. Okay, so let's run this, and we're going to drop into an interactive shell with this. I was going to say, why is this not running? That was confusing, but whatever, it's running, so we're good to go. Kirby, hello. How are you doing today? Will this lesson will this be posted on YouTube? Well, so the archive, the live stream archives are gonna just stay up on YouTube, so you can just sort of look through those. Although they are on there for a long time. Beyond that, I don't know where the final course is going to live. It might be on YouTube, and it might be on my LMS. It might be on both. I haven't fully decided the sort of like the business value of it yet. Like the best value for, like, you know, I have to like go back and forth between like, okay, community, me, like all that stuff. Like what do I think like the market is for that? Once I figure that out, I'll let everybody know. I'm sort of aiming for both right now, but I haven't fully like committed to one yet. Okay, so I guess we'll start with this, right? So if I just do docker ps, and we'll see that this is some Postgres. Now I can do a docker exec. If I remember correctly, we need to do it. Let's just double check. Oh, it's not -h. Okay. Yes. Okay. I want it. Yeah. So that's exactly it. So we're gonna do docker ps. We can do docker exec it some Postgres, and then the name of the command that I want. So in this case, I want to drop into an interactive shell. So we're going to drop into bin bash. I'm in here. We can then take a look that I'm in this container. I can now exit out. And then if I do a docker ps again, it's still up and running. So I might as well do all of these. Okay, so that's 4 selections. That sounds about right. Ooh, uh-oh. Okay, those are closer to be aligned. There we go. Okay, so there we go. So we start with that. So we have our docker ps. We go with that. Let's add another line in here to separate that out. Okay, so then we do our docker exec it some Postgres bin bash. I don't think I need to do that. I think we can just say nope. Okay, then we go into there. Okay, so we exit out. Let's add in that thing there like that. We do docker ps, and it's still running. Okay. Okay, so we did a few things here. Would it be correct to say that running a shell creates a new shell? I think that's proper. That's the proper way of putting it, right? When we run, that's how I've always like used it when talking with my fellow sysadmins back in the day. So I think that would make sense, right? So when we run the shell directly, it creates a new shell. since we're in interactive mode, we are connected to that shell and can now okay, so when we're finished, okay. I feel like this is one of the first parts where I think somebody can get like confused and go like, but I exited out early, like previously. Why didn't this one like quit? Why is this still running? So I think this is one of the ones where like after some people go through it, I might have some like questions to like expand and add to this one, but I'm not exactly sure what those are right now. By the way, if any of you have any questions about what's going on in any of these, please ask away, because we can only hopefully I can help out. Okay, so when you're finished running a movie, it's the kind of restart with the -D option. For demo mode, it continued to stay up even after exiting. Okay, so let's do another section here. So other commands. We can run more than just the shell. Okay, so any command that could be run inside the container could be run as part of the Docker exec command. Wait, why are you gone? Am I crazy? Why was that showing nothing there when it clearly was still there? That's weird. Is that just me, or is that like switching back and forth cut? Oh, look at that. When I switch back and forth with Zellige. Oh, weird. I'm losing data. That's okay. Is it because I'm in full screen mode? That's strange. Okay. All right, so let's see. Okay, my other work, the contract work, sent me a request, and I will do that, but it's not a rush, so I will do that this afternoon. I don't have to do that right now. Is Imesdrin? Hello, how are you doing today? I'm doing pretty good. It's fun Docker time. Okay, so let's go back to full mode. So okay, whenever I switch back and forth with Zellige, that is losing data, which is weird. Okay, so we have Docker PS. I want to do a Docker exec, no IT. We're just going to do it as some Postgres. We're going to do the ls command, and that lists out what we have here. So if I go back in here, weird, it didn't lose that. I guess like there's not really two ways, there's just one way, right? I think that's all I need right now. I don't think I need to like explain why that's important or not. Okay, so this is connecting to a running Docker container. Stop a running Docker container. All right. Okay, so are we heading towards anything? No, not really. Okay, so stop running Docker container. So we've been okay, so it's taking up memory, RAM, and CPU resources on the system. If we have a very powerful computer, it's probably wouldn't affect us. Little Horns, hello, how are you doing today? You're wanting to learn Docker, you're a web dev that just got out of an internship. Would this stream be the best to learn Docker from the very basics, or do you recommend a prior video or stream to watch from the So I started last week on Tuesday is when I started. And this is what think all of these is what I got to. So installing, like getting started with Docker, running the first container. Is that available yet? I don't know if that video is online yet. I set those live streams. They hang out in members only mode for like a week or so. Right now the backlog is a week. It's gonna shorten down as now I'm switched to only 3 streams a week as opposed to 10. So let me see where that is. That was creating a course for Docker. Okay, that is public. So yeah, that is available. It just went available shortly. Not sure. Oh, it went available this morning. Okay. Perfect. Here, let me see if I can grab a link to it. So it is a full live stream. It's long. It's so you'll have to probably like skip around because the first part of that live stream is me figuring out what I'm gonna teach. So obviously we didn't start with Docker until like a little bit later into it, but then we're going through all the basics of Docker in there. My host company used Docker. Your last company used Docker, and you just got a glimpse of how important it is to learn. You've only been studying web dev for a year. Yeah, Docker, knowing the basics of Docker is super important. Knowing like advanced stuff of Docker, I don't think is super important. You know, nobody. Okay, not nobody. Everybody doesn't need to learn those until you need to use them. That's my opinion for it. Like when you need it, then you learn it. And like once you get to a certain level with your skills, you're going to be able to learn stuff on demand a lot easier than trying to pre-learn everything. You only been studying web dev for a year? Well, awesome. It's a fun and amazing sort of like time we're in with web dev. We have all sorts of tools like this now, which is so cool. I love it. Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask here or on Discord. Oh, your internship is with Booz Allen Hamilton. They didn't hire you, unfortunately. What do you think the market for junior devs is currently? Very rough, unfortunately. The markets are in a very weird place right now, especially in technology. You've no doubt heard and seen all the layoffs that happened recently and are continuing to happen. However, we're noticing and we're seeing that the non-tech sector are hiring devs still. The problem is obviously that those companies generally don't hire very large teams of developers. So if you were to get hired by them, you may or may not have anybody else there with you. So right now, my suggestion for anybody sort of getting into the field is obviously you're going to have to take whatever jobs you can get, right? Also find a way to get some kind of mentorship outside of your job, because you can't rely upon getting into a company which is going to have strong senior devs there who know what they're doing and can help you out. If you're lucky, you will, but otherwise you may just have to be on your own for that. So that's my suggestion, is it's all about community these days. I've never worked with Booz Allen Hamilton. I think I interviewed with them once years and years and years ago. But I don't remember anything about that. Shroud, hello. How are you doing today? Making connection helps the most right now. It's way too rough otherwise, it seems. Yeah, it's always been important, but the importance of it has skyrocketed way up. It's huge now. Let's see. Perfect. Thank you. I finished a code school, an apprenticeship, and an internship this year, but as a non-traditional dev, you find out it's don't worry about any of that stuff. It's not your education. It's not your it's not anything else. It's it's the market. The market for devs is weird, and so there's a lot of other devs sort of vying for the same jobs. There's a lot of companies that are like scared to hire because it's expensive, and they don't want to just let you go immediately afterwards. So it's or at least hopefully they don't. So it's basically, when you get a job, it's because you proved that you're going to provide more value than you cost as an employee. And that's, and also more value than anybody else applying for at the same time. They only hired devs with degrees during your, yeah, a lot of companies still have the old mindsets. Which is it's a thing. I don't agree with it, but it is still very prevalent. Usually after your first job, you can get around all that stuff. Like, it's just your first job. Your first job is the hardest. After that, doesn't make it super easy, but it's always going to be slightly easier. Every job is going to be slightly easier than the previous one. All right, where were we? However, it can be a good idea to clean up after themselves and free up these resources for other services. Okay, so let's do this. We'll use docker stop command. Okay, so we want to do docker ps to show this up here like that. And then we'll do docker. Oh, that's going to be annoying. Okay, so docker run docker stop. No, what was I thinking? Docker stop some Postgres. Okay, and then docker ps, and then it's now stopped. Okay, so let's search for, I guess we can start with main, which are all of these, right? Yeah. Oh, that works. Okay. Okay, so docker ps, we showed this command, docker stop some Postgres is stopped, docker ps, and then it's gone. Okay. I worked with people from India that had a degree, but they only did the cram test. I guess that's because, yeah, so a degree, like any other schooling, is going to be hit or miss, right? It all depends upon the system. Like I've worked with people from India that were amazing developers. And I've worked with people from India that were not amazing. It all depends upon what their background is and what, what that school really is. And some schools are great and some schools are not so great. Bix Plays, hello. How are you doing today? Also got to be on the lookout for companies that just have the thing they're trying to fix, and the example problem for the interview is trying to get the solution solved for free. I've never run into that, but I've heard of people who have run into it. Generally speaking, when you're taking the interview and if the problem seems to be very much related, like not just somewhat related, but like a real problem as opposed to sort of like a toy problem to show off skills, I would be hesitant to do that. Oh yeah, and there's plenty of developers that have never gotten degrees that are amazing too. That's very true. I worked with someone with a college degree and he struggled building a Spring backend on a group project, ended up building a whole thing, and it was my first time with a Spring Boot. Degrees don't equate quality or willingness to learn and achieve. The reason why degrees are so often used as a metric to try to like measure quality of a developer is because it's an easy to measure metric, right? Like it's easy to know if somebody had a degree or not. You just literally look for the degree. You can just do a phone call up to their school to verify if you really want to. And there you go. You have a degree. And I think that's a problem that I see a lot of businesses have, is that they sometimes conflate easy to measure with a good idea to measure. It's not always true. Okay, so if we were to list all the containers that Docker can do, we would see the stopped container. I guess I should probably put this up here. I think the only difference here is that it's going to be stopped, right? Nope, too much. I want to go to here. Yeah, I think so. Okay, and then we'll just make you match up. Let's see. Oh, we don't have status exited 4 minutes ago. Ooh, okay. So then we have ports. Okay, there we have that. Okay, there we go. That makes it consistent. Okay, so we see the stop container. All right. And we are good to go. Okay, but we already talked about that, so I don't need to go through that. Okay, stop a running container. Oh, you know what we could do? We can restart. Okay, so previously we stopped our Postgres database container. Okay, so previously we stopped our Postgres database container. What if we wanted to restart it again without having to create a new container? Okay, so this command requires that a container be created, but not running. Okay, so we have that. I want to do Docker. I just want to now do a Docker start. And then we can do a Docker PS. Let's see. I missed a bunch. Indeed, HR doesn't understand IT, so they use a degree as a baseline because nobody got fired for hiring somebody who on paper has good qualifications. Like our IT equivalent, nobody ever gets fired for hiring IBM. Yeah, I mean, that's very true. And you see that a lot in companies that don't have a safe, like don't have psychological safety. Psychological safety is so important for taking risks because you can't really get like there's the entire statement of like no risk, no reward. It kind of exists for a lot of other things too. Like if you want to play it safe, that's great, but the chance of you getting like the best employee is a lot lower if you're only going to look for degrees, if you're only going to look for certain things. Like those people that are amazing developers, you're gonna need to pay for them. And most companies don't want to pay for them. I have a degree from a foreign land. Talk about prejudice disposition to start with. I just started as a file clerk at the medium bank and worked my way up to BI specialist. I had the knowledge and experience. I just didn't get a chance. That's happened so often, and it sucks so much. I'm sorry about that. I still have no clue how to have handled that better. Today, 21 years later, I make enough money to live comfortably. I think nowadays things have changed because more and more people, like things are more global now. So it's a lot easier to move around without degrees. It's like way more common too. So even though there's a lot of companies that are requiring it, there's usually, nowadays there's ways to sort of sidestep those requirements. The networking is the key. Like, because if you can find somebody and know somebody who is either in a position of authority or knows somebody who's in a position of authority, they can maybe, get you in without all the other requirements. It's pretty common, actually, these days at least. Here, nobody will work for minimum wage. Like, the McDonald's has to pay $2 more than minimum wage to be able to get people to work for them, which is good. Like, I think it really shows how markets work, which is the price that you pay for, and then the amount that we charge, like the amount that we work for, is also part of the market, right? Is what the market will bear. And that's if the market doesn't accept a super low wage, then that's what it is. If they're only hiring for minimum wage, then, and people are taking those jobs, then of course they're not going to hire for hire, because that's what the market bears. Yeah, it goes the other way around. Companies hiring devs for minimum wage to find the most desperate out there. And sometimes that's all the companies want, because their level of quality is like, that's what they're optimizing for. For reference, that means that McDonald's is paying $18 an hour. It's not the same as minimum wage in the US. Yeah. Most of the places I've been at, they've not paid minimum wage. But I haven't been to too many places in the US. So that makes sense there. And then it's the same for everything else. So it's I guess like good things to know is marketing wise is like the difference between like just the marketing as like advertisement and marketing as like the pool of people who are purchasing or buying. In my country, local people don't want to work for minimum wage, so they go for West EU, and yeah, it's one of those things where like, if we're global now, like it's something that we can't like turn around and stop anymore. So if you can get your labor from another country, and it's going to be cheaper there because the comparison between your dollar and their dollar is, cheaper. Therefore, there are, that's going to happen. Okay, so let's go grab all this. Okay, so Docker PS, we get that. I like having like the extra space in here. Okay, so we PS to show that it doesn't exist, and then we run the start command that starts it, and now we can see it here. Okay, since this was a container, okay, so I don't really know if there's anything else we really need to do with that. It's pretty simple. Okay, set up VS Code to work with Docker. This is important, but okay, set up VS Code to work with Docker. All right, well, we need to figure out how to do this because I haven't actually done this before. There we go. All right, let's start. Okay, if I remember correctly, I can create a new profile. Profile name, this is going to be Docker for web development. Don't copy. Choose what to configure in your profile. What does that mean? If I leave it unchecked, if I leave it checked, it's gonna reset them to be nothing? Or if I leave it, I don't get it. I guess we're gonna find out. So this should theoretically reset and everything should be good to go. I should have no extensions. Yeah, okay, we have absolutely no extensions. So I want, what extensions do we want? Okay, recommend it. Search for Docker. So this one, again, like it has the little circle thing. So it's by Microsoft. It has the little check mark, so we know that it is Microsoft, so that makes me feel better. It also has 30 million downloads. That is a lot for an extension. This extension is recommended because you have Kubernetes installed. Do I don't remember installing Kubernetes, so I think something else must have installed it for me. Okay, so we're going to install the Docker container. Now, what can I do with this? Oh, there's so much here. Let's, can I move? Oh, this shows all the stopped container. Oh, okay. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Yeah, let's remove all the stopped containers. Let's remove all the images, all the dangling images. Oh, I guess let's remove all of the images. Can I? See, Express. I want to remove everything but Postgres. Okay, there we go. So now we have the image. We have our container. Oh, we can even look inside the container. That's nice. We have the normal registry, right? Just Docker Hub, so I can connect to that. I am not. Okay, at least it's like that. I'm not going to put it in my. I guess I could go get a personal access token for that, but I don't want to. I'll probably just expose it to all of you, and then I'll have to go reset it again. And then everything else, okay, is we have networks, volumes. So I don't need to show that kind of stuff right now. Context. Okay, so these are the two things that I want to show off, and then I think we can actually connect in, right? We can attach a shell, which then, okay, yeah, so here it just does this thing, right? Docker exec, it just does the Docker exec's command right behind, like behind the system, behind the scenes. We can view the logs, we can inspect it. We can do all the things. Cool. Beginning January 1st, California employees may have to pay overtime to more computer software employees who earn less than $115,000 per year. Oh, nice. It's something that not just California, but everywhere software workers are pushed into overtime way too often and way too easily. many pull so many images and containers and never clean, it can grow so fast. It can. So, and I think one of the things is like a lot of people are afraid of like just getting rid of containers and images because like, oh, what if I need it again? The entire idea is that if you're afraid of removing your containers and images, you're kind of not doing it right. You want your containers to be ephemeral. Like you could just get rid of them at a moment's notice and you haven't lost anything. Maybe like a day, like even work, like your work shouldn't even be in the container. It should be outside of the container that you have access to. Like maybe you have some like test data in there, but in the end, test data, you should be able to recreate that, or it shouldn't matter if you lose it. Okay, let's so what's the thing? This is the I need okay, so this takes me here to this marketplace. All right, so all right, so VS Code has a really nice extension that allows devs to work seamlessly. Oh, ad starting in 5 minutes. Okay, I'll try to remember right before we start to switch over to Big Zilby, and then I'll go grab a drink or something. Allows devs to work with Docker seamlessly. The extension is called, well, it's simply called Docker. Right? It's just Docker? Yeah, just Docker. Note that if you don't use VS Code, you aren't missing anything. This extension just allows devs to graphically manage Docker. There, it doesn't allow devs to like do things that to run work with Docker in a way you can't. I don't. Okay, so these things are to manage Docker. And then I think they had this has a video. So read the watch extension tutorial videos. So yeah, there's only 2 of these here. And really, I think this one is probably the important one. Yeah, so I'll just send people to this. So if you use VS Code and you want to use VS Code to work with Docker, install the extension and also watch this tutorial video to learn how to use it. I don't see any benefit to me trying to recreate their own tutorial for them, because they're just going to change it and it's going to suck for me. So I think that should be good. Shouldn't simple be simply on line 3? Probably, yeah. So oh, this extension is simply. Yeah, there you go. Thank you for that. Also, hello 000008. How are you doing today? Okay, so not much to do here. Okay, we're good to go with that. So that's our first steps, getting set up. Then we have these things. So, are there anything else you all would want to see for getting set up? Like the first steps, like maybe just like basic commands. To me, like all of those are kind of what you need to get started with it. Now we have other things like binding ports and logging and all that stuff. I'm going to put that into this section. So those are still simple, but they're to a purpose at that point. All right. Our ads, our hour-long break is going to start in 10 seconds or so. So I'm going to go ahead and put Zilby in full screen mode, and I'm going to go take a 3-minute break, and we will be right back. Everybody on Twitch, you'll probably get an ad any second now. So I will see you all in 3 minutes or so. All right. And I'll be right back to everybody who doesn't get ads. Have fun with watching Zilby.